And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm gonna mess up the way. Certain things didn't let it go by because it's Puff. He wasn't like in the closet, he was like in the hallway.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
A lot of good it did me. My heart is with Cassie. She and all the women that testified had to sit on the stand while the world has debated their...
50 Cent just reacted to the shocking verdict of the Diddy trial. Hundreds of testimonies, 34 witnesses, and 2 federal raids later, the verdict for the Shaw Combs trial is finally out. Diddy has been declared guilty of transportation for of ex-girlfriends Cassie and Jane,
Now that doesn't
and not
seem to be
guilty
true.
on the more serious charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and king. Diddy has beaten his RICO charge and now faces 20 years in prison.
Bit of a commotion outside the courthouse. Sean Combs' mother just returned here. She walked in just a second ago, said she is feeling good because her son was acquitted of the most serious charges that he faced, and racketeering conspiracy, both of which could have sent him to prison for life. He was convicted, though, of transportation to engage in prostitution, and that charge could put him in prison for up to 20 years, although it's not expected he would get that much time. What we're waiting for now is the judge to decide whether Combs can be released on bail while he awaits his sentencing. He offered to put up $1 million. He put up his homes in Miami and Los Angeles. They're certainly opulent. The jury, the judge, everybody saw pictures of them. And the judge said he would convene a hearing later this afternoon to determine if Combs should be released.
50 Cent has been beefing with Diddy for years and is even working on a Netflix docuseries that is going to cover everything that Diddy did. The docuseries titled Did He Do It is set to release around the end of 2025 and, according to 50 Cent, will cover crimes that weren't even mentioned in the trial. 50 Cent has been collecting evidence for decades now, and it's all going to come out in just a few months.
You and Puff haven't liked each other business-wise for a long time.
Well, that's why it's only business. It was really, away from that, I explained why I didn't hang out with him, right? Because it's a little fluffy stuff going on.
It's not your scene.
It's not my style.
Not your scene.
They hug you from the front and the back at the same time. I got uncomfortable with him because the way he was acting to try and get me to hang out with him was like, yo, I'll take you shopping. Like, and I'm like, what you mean? Like, that's something you say to a woman you're attracted to, maybe.
Right.
It's just weird, bro. Like, and now you start to see a lot of the weird stuff that was there. It looks like it all lines up, don't it? It was not in the closet. It was in front of you and you wasn't seeing it because you see the beards. Or you see the girls. So you didn't look at them the way it actually is to a degree. And when I say people respond, how people respond to things matter, like the internet will take to it and just go off with it. Meek responds being the uncomfortability. He goes, yo, nah, I'll spend $100,000.
No one hates Diddy more than 50 Cent. This man has been hating on Diddy decades before the trial even started. And allegedly, it all started because Diddy tried to take Diddy out on a date. Diddy asked 50 if he would go out shopping with him, and 50 said no. He knew what Diddy really meant since the rumors of Diddy being gay were already out.
But you got close when he offered to take you shopping.
Yeah, you see, now Meek is in the same shirt. He's out there in the same shirt. This is not Photoshop. This is real. Stop it. You set that up. Look, obviously was not offended by what I was offended by. Guys may say to a girl, you know, like, let me take a shot. See?
Damn.
They found it that quick.
What do you think is happening in the middle?
I don't know what is going on there. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know, maybe I'll take you shopping and I get you some flash and you can give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the way. Certain things didn't let it go by because it's Puff. He wasn't like in the closet. He was like in the hallway.
All these years, you being the only one calling this out.
I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
They said you're a hater. They said you're crazy.
You do this, and now everybody's complaining. My is hurting.
One person who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent. And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling the industry, the attacks that people face from the media if they try to speak out, is always the same. They're called crazy. And an example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
Now 50 Cent is reacting to the Diddy verdict.
He posted a picture of him smiling and wrote the caption, "Diddy beat the Rio. That boy a bad man. He like the gay John Gotti." Hey, yo, chill. Then he posted this one. He said, "Diddy just told me to tell y'all don't worry about him. He gonna hold it down." I'm not gonna lie, it seemed like 50 Cent happy that Diddy didn't go to jail. As much as he don't like Diddy, I don't think he wanted to really see him in jail doing life.
The only reason 50 Cent is able to come after Diddy is because he knows Diddy can't come after him. 50 has nothing to hide. And in an industry full of Diddy's accomplices, 50 is the only one who valued his integrity more than a Diddy party. Everyone else is quiet because they were parting with Diddy back in the day. 50, on the other hand, stayed away from anything that could compromise his principles.
You're not worried that if you throw little and you don't throw out allegations, but like you kind of poke fun at them.
You just ask questions.
You're not worried that it comes back your way? Like people dig up your past and try to pull stuff up?
I don't got that shit in my past. I'm not.
Everybody got a little bit.
Look,
like, not that it's real or not.
I took a pill, but it was for me to perform better. For her to remember, buddy. I didn't f***ing give her a drink so she forget what the f*** happened. What the f*** is going on here, bro? Yes, I took the drinks. I gave me the to perform. So she can remember and possibly love me for that.
Did it work? Did it work?
What the f***? This is, yo, bro, look, I'm doing pretty good. Like, I'm pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just saying, this is the opposite of normal shit that we're talking about, bro.
That is why. I don't know why it's so hard for people
so
to just
for people to feel like
shit is
you
weird.
would have something or you would have reserved energy because you feel like you was doing it too, this is people that are looking on separation between their hardships or their the things that they got going on that would be issues and what a celebrity's issues would be.
Wait, what is that?
They think all celebrities are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, and when you see, if I wasn't saying anything, guess what? You could safely say that a person on the outskirts that is not involved in hip-hop culture could think that everybody in hip-hop culture is with that.
Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It.
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way you would present the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it. Just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like, when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like, when people don't remember being violated for 20 years, it makes me feel a little hard.
What are your thoughts on the allegations against Jay-Z?
That was interesting. When I was saying things, not knowing exactly what I was saying, but I was going with, like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also. You know, so I hope it works out, because with his family, the things that go on internally is that those accusations are crazy.
Diddy is set to do a maximum of 20 years in federal prison based on what he was charged with. But given that there are multiple counts of the same crime, this number can go up. The judge has full discretion over Diddy's sentence, and Ife wants Diddy could be spending the rest of his life behind bars.
There's a big question as to where he's going to go. Some people think he's going to go to a minimum security facility, and other people say he's not eligible. And I agree, because it's a sex crime.
Prosecutors, they said in their filing yesterday that it's a crime of violence. We'll see how it goes down when it goes to sentencing. But
you know what? Hold on. I know we don't have a lot of time. Here's something nobody's pointed out. That judge could hit him what's called relevant conduct, where they could actually sentence and enhance him for things that he either was acquitted of, found not guilty of, based on the conduct of what he did. So he may get more time.
Oh, the judge has a lot of discretion here. You know, there's no minimum. Max is 10. There's been talk about would he even go past the guidelines, because you're talking about multiple instances of transportation to engage in prostitution and two victims.
Relevant conduct allows the judge to do that.
Right.
The defense will say he has discretion, but he really didn't, because the judge has all the discretion he wants.
That's 100%. That's why he's going to need as much information from a pre-investigation report. Let me ask you this. If he goes to prison, if he's sentenced to prison, he was acquitted of racketeering. He was acquitted of trafficking, but he was convicted of transportation to engage in prostitution. Does he walk in a king, or does he walk in a pariah? How do other inmates look at him if he was acquitted?
You know what? He was acquitted on some charges.
Yeah.
People win. I mean, on multiple counts, people sometimes get things dismissed all the time. Fact is, he's no better than anyone else. He's a convicted felon.
But he's going to get the maximum. The judge will give him the maximum, just like they gave O.J. Simpson the maximum in Vegas, because he got off Simpson in L.A. when he clearly killed these two people. And then when they got a second crack at him on a minor beef, relatively, of theft, they sentenced him to heavy time. So Diddy will go to prison, and he should. He's evil. And I say that because I just wrote a book called Confronting Evil.
Yeah,
he used narcotics and violence, to coerce people to do what he wanted to do. That's evil. Sorry.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Now, back to Trump.
Well, hold on. Stephen wants to weigh in on what you just said. Go ahead.
Okay.
Only thing I want to weigh in, I don't want to castigate the entire culture. I'm tired of, we see pictures of a few bad apples conducting themselves in very disgusting manners and thinking that that's the entire industry. I'm a guy that was raised in the hip-hop industry. I know an abundance of hip-hop artists and beyond who have never engaged in, never been accused of, never would think of putting themselves in the kind of positions.
Diddy's fans and lawyers are celebrating this as a huge win for Diddy. Diddy beat two of the most serious charges he was facing. Allegedly, when Diddy heard the verdict, he bowed down and then stood up and clapped. It's shocking how despacito, much evidence and more than 34 witnesses testifying against him, Diddy was still able to get away. There was physical evidence and even videos of Diddy actively engaged in crimes, but he was still able to get away.
I have a big update right now. Remember how we were just saying this is the best possible outcome for the defense? Combs agrees and the defense agrees. Combs, after being led out by marshals, as he was being let out, he knelt down in front of his chair and bowed his head down as if he was praying. When he stood up, he faced the gallery and he began to clap, prompting the gallery to clap and cheer. Combs' attorneys, they all exchanged hugs and the gallery continued to cheer for him. I mean, what a moment in that courtroom.
Well, the verdict is in. Sean Diddy Combs has been convicted on 2 counts of transportation of his ex-girlfriends to engage in prostitution, but cleared of the most serious charges against him. The music mogul has been found not guilty of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of trafficking. The charges he has been found guilty of are connected to his 2 former partners, including singer Cassie Ventura and a former girlfriend being referred to as Jane. In the U.S., it is a crime to knowingly transport any person with the intent that they engage in prostitution or illegal sexual activity. The 12-person jury deliberated for 3 days before reaching the verdict. The maximum penalty for each of the 2 guilty counts is 10 years in prison plus a fine.
How you feeling? Not bad. How are you?
Anything you want the public to know?
Not yet. We'll be.
saying something soon. Thank you.
We're hopeful that ultimately he receives a substantial sentence for what he's done, and we're pleased that Cassie's brought to light everything that has happened in this trial. I just spoke with her and with the U.S. Attorney's Office team, and she's in a good place. She's pleased that again that the jury has found him liable, or guilty of 2 federal crimes.
It's absolutely a win. The defense took a really big gamble going to trial on this case. Really, any time that a defendant chooses to go to trial against the federal government, it's a big gamble. They have a lot in their favor, and it really paid off for Combs.
Today's a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You saw that the Southern District of New York prosecutors came at him with all that they had. They're not stopping, but one thing stands between all of us and a prison, and that is a jury of 12 citizens. And we had a wonderful jury. They listened to every word, and they got the situation right, or certainly right enough. They acquitted him of the which he was absolutely innocent of. They acquitted him of the racketeering conspiracy that he was absolutely innocent of, and all of the components to it. The kidnapping, he was innocent of that. The arson, he was innocent of that. The obstructing justice, he was innocent of that. And that is no longer just me saying that. That is the verdict of.
Diddy's family stood outside the courthouse and danced after the verdict was announced. Keep in mind that Diddy's sons were also mentioned in a lawsuit against him. Allegedly, Diddy was using his sons to help him get access to more women, Bothoff. Diddy's sons have assault cases filed against them, too. This verdict is an embarrassment for the prosecutors. If Diddy can't be convicted, even with this much evidence, then what is even the point?
And after nearly a 2-month trial with 34 witnesses and hours of salacious testimony, a jury of 8 men and 4 women finds Sean Diddy Combs not guilty of racketeering and trafficking, but guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The judge is currently deciding right now whether Combs will actually be released today. His defense arguing that since the music mogul was acquitted of the most serious crimes, he should be able to go home. Once court was adjourned, family members cheered today's verdict. Combs' son, Christian, telling ABC News how happy he is.
Hey, yo, we love y'all. We love everybody watching. So happy. Pop's coming home. God bless. God bless the whole world.
What was going through your head when the verdict was read? Happy.
This is shocking. This was an enormous defeat for prosecutors. The 3 big charges, which is why they prosecuted him in the first place, the jury acquitted Diddy.
They only found him guilty on what we knew all along were the easiest things to find him guilty of. That was the transportation for purposes of the Mann Act.
Which is sending a prostitute across state lines. Right. Happens every day.
We knew before the trial started he was guilty of those.
They never would have filed these charges if it were just that. This undeniably is an enormous embarrassment for prosecutors, and it really underscores what Mark Agnifilo was saying, that they tried to make it about baby oil and Astroglide and all that other stuff. And the jury,
but you can't ignore the fact that they looked through also Cassie's emotional testimony. Pregnant Cassie testifying
and didn't
wasn't
buy
enough.
it.
It wasn't enough.
Didn't buy it. It is undeniably a victory for Diddy, even though he's going to spend time in prison, it would seem.
Asterisk, some of Diddy's fans even celebrate outside the courthouse. Imagine celebrating a monster like Diddy getting away.
Here are the people celebrating it. Here are the people celebrating it. Crackhead Barney getting in on the action. Give me the baby oil, jumping around as they sprayed baby oil on her. I don't want to keep giving them attention, but I want you to see just how dumb this was. This was painted as the chaos. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a stunt. It's a dumb, stupid stunt. She looks ridiculous. She looks terrible. And this is what it's about? This is what we're celebrating? I mean, this is horrible.
Asterisk, reacting to the verdict. One person said these jurors wanted to just get out of the courthouse. They were tired and wanted to go home, before the July 4th holiday to get ready for BBQs. They should have been given a break and deliberated after the holiday. Maybe they would have spent more time to go over everything more thoroughly. They did not do their jobs, and Justice Wasn't served. Now, this monster will get out in a few years. People stop looking up to these people who live celebritilessly, as though they are gods, like O.J. Simpson and Diddy. Diddy was responsible for Kim Porter's death. Biggie, Tupac. How many others that we do not know of? What will this monster do from behind bars to get back at all who testified, or when he is released? This jury did not serve justice. One of the jurors even gave an interview where he defended their decision.
One of the jurors who delivered that bombshell mixed verdict is speaking out for the first time.
This morning, a juror from the Sean Diddy Combs trial requesting to remain anonymous, slamming the notion that the music mogul's celebrity profile drove their decision. In a statement to ABC News saying, "I found that statement highly insulting and belittling to the jury and the deliberation process," adding, "Our decision was based solely on the evidence presented and how the law is stated. We would have treated any defendant in the same manner regardless of who they are." The jury of 8 men and 4 women acquitted the rap titan of the most severe charges of trafficking and racketeering, but convicted him on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution as it relates to ex-girlfriends Cassie Ventura and the woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane. An alternate juror telling CNN, though he wasn't part of the deliberations, he agrees with the verdict.
I took a copious amount of notes. I think reading all my notes and looking back at the evidence, I probably would have reached the same conclusion as the other jurors.
Following the verdict, Diddy's lawyers applied for bail and offered $1 million as bail money. Diddy's sentencing is set for October, and Diddy wants to get out as soon as possible. Diddy is 55 years old. So even a 20-year sentence could send him to jail for the rest of his life. Judge Aro, however, denied Diddy's bail, saying that Diddy has proven himself to be dangerous.
Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail after the verdict in his trafficking case, and here's how he took the news. According to NBC News reporters in the courtroom, Combs appeared, quote, deflated as his hopes of going home were seemingly dashed as his lawyers attempted to convince Judge Aaron Subramanian to release their client ahead of his sentencing. In his ruling, Subramanian cited Combs' years-long pattern of violence as a reason for him to remain behind bars, adding that he continues to be a danger to others and unable to follow the law, arguing that Combs, who pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, by force, fraud, or coercion, as well as transportation to engage in prostitution, was acquitted on the 3 most serious charges of trafficking and racketeering and only convicted of prostitution-related offenses. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo insisted he should be released on appropriate conditions. As Agnifilo outlined, Combs would be willing to put up a $1 million cash bond co-signed by his mom Janice Combs, his sister Keisha Combs, and Sarah Chapman, the mother of Combs' eldest daughter Chance Combs, and have no access to his private plane, which is currently grounded in Maui. He also agreed to surrender his passport, undergo testing, and restrict travel to areas of New York, Florida, and California as necessary to attend court and meet with lawyers.
Cassie is in danger. Her lawyer has asked the court to keep Diddy behind bars as he awaits sentencing, arguing the music mogul poses a risk to her and other witnesses. In a letter to Judge Aaron Subramanian, attorney Douglas Wigder said that Cassie was scared Diddy would come after everyone who testified against him, including herself. Aubrey O'Day has also reacted to the verdict and says that she feels unsafe. It's shocking how Diddy was allowed to get away despite the overwhelming amount of evidence.
Cassie Ventura writes a letter to the judge asking for him to deny Diddy's bail, calling Diddy a danger to all of the witnesses. The judge just said at 5 o'clock he will make his determination on whether he's going to let Diddy walk free today while he's waiting to be sentenced on his 2 counts of prosta. And now Cassie Ventura is the second person to write a note saying that Diddy is dangerous and she doesn't believe that he should be let out on bail while he's waiting for sentencing. Cassie Ventura's lawyer wrote this letter on her behalf to respectfully request that the court deny Mr. Combs to be released pending his sentencing trial. They cite the law, the Bail Reform Act, that says detention is mandatory post-conviction on these charges, and Cassie Ventura believes that Mr. Combs is likely to pose a danger to the victims who testified in this case, including herself as well as the community. We thank the court for its time and attention to this matter. Now I'll be on the lookout if we have any other notes from witnesses that testified against Diddy, because this is a big deal. The judge will take these into consideration on if he's going to grant Diddy's bail. Still waiting on the government's letter as well, so this is why the judge said he'll reconvene at 5 p.m. and this is when he'll make his decision.
Among those waiting on the edge of their seats for the verdict in the Sean Diddy Combs trial was singer Aubrey O'Day. She starred on Diddy's reality show Making the Band, and for years has been going public warning about Combs. Now she tells Inside Edition hearing he may soon go free felt like a gut punch.
Pop star Aubrey O'Day is in shock after today's stunning verdict in the Sean P. Diddy Combs trial. I spoke to her minutes after Combs was found not guilty on the most serious charges.
What was your reaction to hearing this verdict?
It's literally a gut punch. That is not good enough. Let me make it very clear, it's not good enough, okay? We're not normalizing this.
O'Day first met Diddy when he picked her to star in an all-female singing group after she competed on the MTV show Making the Band in the early 2000s.
You've been speaking out about Sean Diddy Combs, raising alarm bells for years.
A lot of good it did me. My heart is with Cassie. She and all the women that testified had to sit on the stand while the world has debated their credibility and worth.
Gene Deal has reacted to the verdict and said that he believes the only reason Diddy was even tried in the first place was so the tapes he had could be taken away. Someone much higher up the ladder wanted to take away Diddy's leverage. And that's exactly what they did. This was never about justice.
Bro, you gotta realize you got people like Prince Harry. Prince Harry was at a Diddy party. You got
sentencing set for October. It's anybody's guess as to what's going to happen. No one expected Diddy to get away.
He still did.
But he still did.
Now everything is up to the judge.
Now everything is up to the judge. If Judge R wants, he can send Diddy away for life. A federal judge doesn't have to stick to the recommended guidelines. And given that Diddy has multiple offenses, anything can happen.
Aaron, we know that sentencing hearing scheduled for the fall. Sean Diddy Combs has already been in custody for about 9 months now, and he's also facing dozens of civil lawsuits. What more does he have ahead of him before that hearing? We know, I think it's on October 3rd.
October 3rd at 10 a.m. is when Sean Combs is going to be sentenced for his conviction on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prosecution. Each of those counts carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years. And so prosecutors pointed out in their letter to the judge his total exposure is 20 years in prison. And the judge today, Whit, said that Combs's propensity for violence was starkly depicted on that 2016 hotel security camera footage that may well factor into the judge's sentencing decisions. In the meantime, Sean Combs will continue to be incarcerated at MDC in Brooklyn, the federal jail in Brooklyn, where he's been since his arrest. This is at least the 3rd, possibly even the 4th time that bail has been denied, and he will have to fight those civil lawsuits, at least at the outset, from behind bars.
With 50 Cent's explosive docuseries around the corner, and Cassie's legal team still fighting to keep Diddy locked up, this story is far from over. The industry may have protected Diddy for years, but the internet isn't letting this one go, because if this is justice, then justice has a price tag. Subscribe if you're done watching monsters walk free. We're just getting started.